This podcast right here is just for entertainment purposes. I am not a medical doctor, not a nutritionist, or a personal trainer. I am barely fucking qualified to operate a toaster. As Ruth Langmore so wisely said, I don't know shit about fuck, so don't trust me, don't listen to me. We're here just for shits and giggles. And if you trust me with health advice, then that's just natural selection at work. Don't do drugs, always listen to your GP. And with that disclaimer out of the way, let's get started.
So what's up, Jason? How are you doing today?
What's up, man? Good. How you guys doing?
We're doing great. Just having fun here. Jason, you, my audience has very likely listened to me talking about Talon before. You're the co-owner, right, of Talon Wellness?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
And if I remember correctly, you used to be the owner of a different clinic, and then you started working with Talon Wellness after this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, talk to us a little bit about what is Talon and how it can help people.
Yeah, so Talon Wellness is a telemedicine hormone replacement clinic. We work in almost every state. Some states have certain restrictions, but almost every single one. And basically, we specialize in peptide therapy, hormone therapy for men and women. We do lab work. We have 4 nurse practitioners and 1 DO, which is a doctor of orthopedics, I think, and basically a physician. And they're the ones who do the diagnoses and prescribe the medications and, do the follow-ups and everything. And then we have about 19 or 18 office staff in my office that do all of the all the office work. So just, making sure everyone's taken care of. We basically have a free concierge service where, like, if you're a patient, you could text in, call in, ask questions, that type of stuff. Yeah, pretty much that's it. I mean,
Dude, that's awesome.
Pretty simple. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Yeah, whenever I talk to someone and they're like, I want to paint within the lines and just play safe, I'm like, this is the one that I recommend. Because as far as I know, it's pretty affordable. You guys don't hijack all of your prices up and everything. So I'm all about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the first things that I tried to model when I opened. I've owned multiple clinics, and they went through name changes. Like, we were originally called Helix HRT, but some other little company in like Arizona or something had the trademark to that name, so they sent us a cease and desist. So that's why we changed it to Talon. So it was whatever. We already had the patient base. I didn't care about the name. But I looked at it when I first started, and I was like, well, this is cool, but like, no one's going to buy this for the price that, a lot of other clinics charge. So like, the first thing I thought of is I was like, we got to get these prices down to like what someone would be able to reasonably not afford, but like want to pay if they're coming from the black market to doing it legitimately and getting it prescribed. I mean, I remember when I first moved to Vegas, I joined like a clinic. It was like an in-person clinic, and the subscription was $200 a month, which I was fine with. And then you had to buy the testosterone like separately for like $100 a bottle, and then you paid for your own labs and stuff. And I was like, what the hell? You guys are killing it. I was like, so basically, I was spending like $300 for a bottle of testosterone. Like, no one's going to do that. It's ridiculous. Like, anyone in their right mind is insane. And you're leaving so much on the table because, I think a lot of clinics have the ideas like, oh, we just won't work with those people. And I'm like, yeah, but you're leaving a huge market out there of people who want this. Why wouldn't you want to work?
Are doing this, just transferring them in.
And that was my idea. Is I was like, well, instead of just focusing on getting people that are just, that don't know that they have low testosterone and they want to switch over, why don't I get the market that's already on testosterone? So that's how we became really successful, is really just getting a lot of the fitness industry to just switch over. So, I mean, a testosterone therapy through us, like the service, if you do, which we require every 6 months, a consultation with the nurse practitioner, a basic lab panel, so that's twice a year on each of those, and then your testosterone therapy, depends on the dose, but let's say you get prescribed 200 milligrams, like a basic dosage, it's less than $100 a month if you average it out. I think it's like 80, I think is like the exact number. So it's like, it's reasonable,
There's no reason not to do it. That's what I tell people. There's no reason not to do it, especially if you want the peace of mind, or if you just want to stay within physiological ranges. You don't have any aspirations to have 3,000-4,000 nanograms. Like, why not?
Exactly. Like, unless you're actively competing or just want to blast gear, it just doesn't make sense. I mean, you're just much better off going through a clinic. You're getting exactly what you want. And actually, I make videos on this all the time. It's not about underground lab gear being underdose, because we know that's bullshit. They're not underdose. Everyone lab tests their stuff. Like, if one underdose bottle comes in third party tested, like, everyone's gonna have a fit, especially on the internet nowadays. But I think the problem is they're overdosed. They're overdosed like crazy. And like, you don't really want that. Like, even if I'm competing, I don't want my shit overdosed, because I want to know how much I'm taking. Gear is
you don't
not
have
expensive.
the inconsistency from batch to batch of just like, oh, I was taking 2 grams last push phase, but now I'm accidentally taking 2,600, and then the next one you're taking, back to 2 grams, and you're like, I'm not making any progress, so I need to push 3, and then you're pushing 4. No,
you have no consistency. Like, imagine if every time you weighed chicken, like 8 ounces of chicken could be 40 grams of protein or 60. Like, you'd be all over the place. Why would you want the same thing with your gear? So to me, I think prescription just makes sense. Plus, like, honestly, like, between using underground lab sources and using the compounding pharmacy, because obviously I use the clinic myself, like, the gear is just the testosterone itself is just so much more painless in the injections too. Like, their sterilization processes are much more advanced than an underground lab can pay for, because they use hundreds of thousands, not millions of dollars worth of equipment to sterilize everything and make sure that it's up to FDA standards.
So what are you guys able to work with? Is testosterone, nandrolone, oxandrolone, and I assume that's it with regards to PED, so to speak.
Correct. Yeah. So that would be like the controlled substances. Peptides, there's a gigantic list of peptides. I mean, damn near anything you get on a research chemical site that is that a compounding pharmacy can make, like, we can prescribe. Yeah, and then, I mean, for females, estrogen, thyroid replacement, things like that. But yeah, we pretty much encompass, like, anything that's an actual prescription medication. We can have our medical providers prescribe.
What's your ratio of female clients to male clients at the clinic?
We used to be 50-50, but I think because of just the nature of the videos that we make on TikTok and Instagram, it's become much more, I'd say, like 80-20 males. Mostly just because, I mean, I think most men, it's just easier for them. They come in, they get their testosterone replacement. It's not really like anything crazy. I think women are much more complex, especially if we're talking like postmenopausal. That's a lot of the women that we get. I would say much less on the competition side, more on the lifestyle, like, getting them to feel healthier, a little bit older women. Those are usually the patients that we get.
And is there process? I mean, you mentioned the 2 times a year, the appointments and the blood work. Is there anything more involved for the female clients that you have?
It depends on who it is. Like, I would say there's no cookie cutter program. Like, every patient has a different, like, schedule on when the provider wants them to check in and, like, what labs they want them to get. So we usually try to push every patient, especially if they haven't gotten blood work in a long time, to get the most advanced panel that they can get. And then from there, we let the provider kind of like choose, all right, for your follow-ups, I want you to get these labs. I want you to get your follow-up labs in, 2 months or 3 months, or, you're in a good spot, you just get them in 6 months. So it's usually up to whatever the provider says that they're talking to. But yeah, it can be, I mean, I've seen them where they want them to check in after like a month because they're just starting them on a new like protocol. And they want them to check in quickly so they can see how things are working and how they're feeling.
Okay.
Do you find like a lot of variability within women with regards to their doses of testosterone?
Yes, very much so. I would say, just speaking on what I see, most women, like, real TRT is going to be anywhere from 3 to 5 milligrams a week. I think that's pretty. I think a lot of TRT clinics really drop the ball on that, and they go straight to 10 to 20 milligrams.
20, yeah. What the?
It's fucking insane.
when she was taking propionate, it was just 0.5 milligram a day, right? But it was propionate, so faster acting, right? did blood work like after her injection, 367 nanograms per deciliter.
Jeez. That's crazy.
That's insane.
Like I don't think a lot of providers understand that women respond very hyper respond compared to men, just because your receptors are much more sensitive than men are, because they're not used to having that much testosterone. So when you put a very large amount of testosterone in your body, that number rises very quickly. But I think, honestly, like I said, 3 to 5 milligrams is a true TRT for most women. Most women are going to feel good anywhere from like 50 to 80 nanograms per deciliter. Some feel better with even a lower dosage. It just depends on the woman. I feel like that's very, very big in variability as well. Although I do see some women, I think some of the older women, postmenopausal, I've seen some prescriptions, and I can probably count on 2 hands the amount, but feel better on like 15 to 20 milligrams. But they'll usually work their way up there over the course of like a year or two. They just find that they work better that way, and they don't really have a lot of like virilizing side effects. That's when you usually titrate the dose, and they feel better. But for most women, especially younger, I mean, if you're talking like, if they really need it, like medically, 20s, 30s, 40s, like 3 to 5 milligrams is plenty.
Yeah. We actually settled with her with cypionate, right? Like after seeing that blood work, I'm like, we're not going to do that. We settled with 0.5 milligrams every day, which works pretty fine. And right now we're titrating to 0.6, right? Like that's like a big jump, because I just want to see what level she's going to feel better at, if there's going to be a little bit of a difference there, which I don't really know if it will be, but she's in the 60s now. She used to be like in the mid-teens.
Oh, wow.
Like in her fucking 20s. And she always assumed that she had high testosterone. Why? Because she would have hair loss or thinning hair. She would have acne, and she would be like, just have hair and like other body parts and stuff like that. So the assumption is like, oh, of course I have high testosterone. And I told her, no, there's actually other hormones that play a major role in all of these things. And coming on testosterone was, for her, it was like a major act of faith. It was like, okay, dude, like we're gonna try injecting male hormones into me. But let's just see where it goes. And like, you can tell this better than I can, but like how you were saying the other day of like your mental energy, just your ability to focus, just your like just overall disposition, it all changed. I think it changed more to her than even when I hopped on TRT. And it was pretty fun to watch.
I don't feel like a different person, but it just definitely the mental clarity, the drive, it's just a lot more steady.
Stable. You just feel like you don't have the ups and downs. Like 1 week you feel great, 1 week you don't.
It's a lot more stable.
And it's always I listened to the interview you had with Rania, and just how women are so open just out of the gate to taking hormones, but they don't see it as such. But it's just hormonal like pill. It's just a hormonal pill, but it's not hormones. It's kind of like taking melatonin, steroid, but not really. Right? And then when you tell them like, well, you could actually take control of your hormones and not feel shitty, then usually the reaction is, no, I have no interest in that. That's way too dangerous. And it's like, well, why? Like, how do you bypass that? Like, have you like found that in your like? Yeah,
it's very stigmatized for women, especially. I mean, even look at like the dawn of the GLPs coming out, semaglutide, tirzepatide, even like with retatrutide being in phase 3 trials. It's very stigmatized. I think the problem is medicine in general is stigmatized, because they're like, well, I have to take a pill for the rest of my life. And it's like,
oh, you don't want to depend on something.
I don't want to be dependent on something. It's like, well,
I'm like, you're dependent on glasses and you're fine. You're dependent on your partner.
You wake up every morning, you brush your teeth, you eat your breakfast.
On your job. Like,
what the fuck? But if you tell them, hey, take a vitamin D3 supplement because your vitamin D is low, vitamin D3, K2, like, oh yeah, I could take that every day because it's not a medicine. But it's like, I think that people just have a bad stigma towards it. I think there is a happy medium. I think physicians in general are positioned in a place to give people medication. That is their job.
Mhm.
And I think that's a good thing. I think they're trained to do that. They're trained to do it in the right scenario. And, if you come to a doctor and if they're not willing to prescribe you medication, they're not doing their job. They're not pushing medication. They're saying, hey, this is something you can take to help your issue. But I also think some people are too reliant on it. You should be focused on having a good nutrition program, having a good exercise program. If you don't have those things in check, like medication is only going to go so far for you. So I think the holistic side and the pharmaceutical side both play very important roles. And I think people put like hard lines in the sand on both of them. And it's like they both work together in tandem. But especially for women, it's very stigmatized. And I think, again, using the medications correctly in the right setting, in the right dosage, the right administration. We know that they work really well. Especially hormones, weight loss, whatever it is,
What I always use, the word that I always use for pretty much anything PEDs is supplement.
Yeah.
It's just because it is a supplementary role. That's one of the things that I go the opposite direction of the science-based community. So I don't care what your study says, man. Like, it's not just taking tests and sitting on the couch.
Yeah.
Sure, it has a more anabolic effect than insulin. You can take insulin, sit on the couch, nothing happens. You take testosterone, you will have growth, but to an extent. But it's like, I was talking to my mom, and my mom just refuses to exercise, right? And she just came home from the doctor. I was just on a call with her, and basically it was like, oh, my liver is bad. I have osteoporosis. Like, my insulin is all jacked up. I'm basically diabetic and all of these things. And the doctor prescribed me something, and I was like, it's semaglutide, right? So like, I think so. And I'm like, so just to be clear, we are doing now what I've mentioned 3 years ago here in Texas when you guys were here that you should do, right? Like, just so we like recognize that, right? And it's like, and I told her, like, but you can think of semaglutide as a very harsh accountant. It's going to be on your ass. Like, it's not going to be like, oh, you ate something shitty, then you find out in blood work a year from now when you go check it out. It's like, no. You ate like an asshole. It will remind you that day. Like, that same day, it will hold you accountable to the choice that you made. So it can be very helpful. Or if you don't change your habits, it will push you to not use it at all because it just didn't work for me. But if
effects were too bad.
Yeah, the side effects were too bad. And it's like, no. If you see all of this stuff as a supplement in a way that is helping you, just like Adderall is helping you to achieve your goals and be able to have a normal life. But if you just feed a kid Adderall, they just become fucking experts in scrolling on TikTok. Like, they don't learn any strategies or anything like that. So finding this middle ground, I think it's super important. And I think it's where we start crossing that line between just a doctor to someone that can fulfill more of like a coaching role as well, on just being able to guide you through the other lifestyle aspects. And people get this wrong, right? Like, people will say like, oh, doctors just prescribe medication, but they don't treat the cause or anything like that. I'm like, motherfucker, isn't it a meme that we say like, oh, you went to the doctor and they told you to drink more water, exercise more, and eat more? It's like, it can be both. It can be that doctors don't treat the cause, but they're also like telling you to exercise more, eat healthy, and all of these things. It's like they are doing both. They learned this shit in medical school, right? And it's just an interesting perspective that I get coming from, Brazil, where doctors like don't need to prescribe as much stuff and people are more independent because you don't need a prescription for metformin. You don't need a prescription for ezetimibe, for telmisartan, for chlorthalidone, for eye drops, for antibiotics, for a lot of sleep medication like trazodone. You don't need a prescription for any of these things. Basically, anything that you can find your way in buying online in the US through, not so white sources, you can get it over the counter in Brazil. And it just allows people to have much more freedom to do these things. But Americans, like, when they hear this, they think, oh, so Brazilians are much healthier. It's like, no, they're not. Rates of cardiovascular disease are about the same. Rates of hypertension is about the same. Diabetes is about the same. We have more preservatives in food. We have more dyes in food. Like, it's like, what is it that we need to present to people, to get people to understand that all of these things, they help, but they can't do the fucking work for you at all, ever.
Yeah, 100%. No, I think I don't think it's ever going to be. The problem is just food in general is too accessible, especially hyper palatable food.
Yeah.
So I mean, with things being too accessible, with the economy being where it is, I just think people put health on the back burner and they just don't give a shit. And I think we're in a place, which is great, that information has never been more readily available, and people can go on ChatGPT and look up anything they want about nutrition, about exercise. Like, there is no excuse for being like, well, they don't have the resources to learn how. I mean, you got a fucking phone. You have the resources. Mm-hmm. Like, homeless people have phones. You can look up anything. I think it's just the discipline to do it. And I think starting with, because I look at it this way too, like, it's kind of a funny like comparison, but like, if you've ever taken a psychedelic before, let's say mushrooms, for example, and people will take them because they want to kind of open their mind to something. So they're in a place of depression. They're not feeling good. They have, the proper like kind of breakthrough with their trip on psychedelics. And it's almost like the experience that they felt, the feelings they felt during the trip is not necessarily that it rewired your brain, but you felt that and you're like, I know how that feels. Like I can beat this. I know how it feels not to be depressed because I went through that breakthrough for the last, hour. I almost feel like that's how GLPs are, how semaglutide is, tirzepatide, is that they're so used to feeling hungry all the time. They're so used to not having control over their cravings, their appetite. The first time they take a shot and they look at food and go, I'm good. I don't really want to eat. Like, I'm coming home from work. Like, I don't really feel like having that. They're like, wow, like now I know how that feels. Like, I know it's there, It's kind of a weird comparison, but I kind of see it to that, is that I think it allows people to realize that they can be disciplined. It's just a matter of them being like, I felt it. Like, I know how it feels to
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think GLPs are really the gateway to that. I think they're going to help. I really think they're like the forefront of medicine, because I think obesity is one of the worst epidemics we've ever had health-wise, in our country.
Yeah, and it's most people don't even recognize themselves as obese, and I'm like, motherfucker, if you think you're 18% body fat, you're obese. Like, if you think, if you think you're over 15, you're obese, because you're actually probably around 30.
Yeah, people wildly underestimate their body fat. I mean, we even see it in competitors. But yeah, man. I mean, I think it's just they just don't get it. They look at themselves and they're like, well, I don't have to be skinny to be healthy. And I'm like, yeah, but being super overweight isn't exactly healthy either.
Yeah. Now, what you mentioned about psychedelics, I think it's super interesting. I was actually the first person under the age of 18 to undergo ibogaine treatment in the history of Brazil. So,
really?
Yeah, it was like super interesting. I had to do a bunch of tests because it's super harsh on your heart and everything. And like, the rates of recovery for addicts is under 5% with traditional treatment. And with ibogaine, it was almost 90%. And like, my parents were like, hey, this is the last attempt. I was 16 years old, and that was already our last attempt at keeping Nathan alive. And I went there. I was like, I'm going to give this a try and do it. And I did. And it rewired my entire existence. Like, I had to relearn how to eat, what kind of music I like. Like, I had to relearn how to communicate with people and everything. It was insane, but it was also like, I came back from the center back to the clinic, and I heard someone saying something about drugs, and I heard the word drug, and I ran to the bathroom and threw up. Like that's like, and I went to the clinic kind of like, whatever, and it basically traumatized me to that whole experience. Like, I stayed over 10 years without even talking about drugs, like just a major life change. And it for people that have food issues, like for people who are obese, man, GLP-1s can really make the same thing. It was like, for me, It was like realizing that, like, oh my gosh, I can take a couple of bites of a pizza and that's it.
Yeah.
Like, no way, because I eat until the food is gone and then I eat some more. That's just, my appetite is unending. And for some people, like, it just ends that food noise, that desire to eat, like, entirely. And it's fucking awesome. And I find it very frustrating whenever I suggest it to someone who literally cannot control their appetite for more than 2 days in a row. And I suggest it, and they're like, "Nah, I don't need to take something for obese people and diabetics."
Yeah. Like they have the stigma to it. They have the stigma that they're like, I don't need that. Like that's for real fatties, or that's for losers, or whatever. And it's like, dude, you don't understand. You don't get it. Like it's just another tool in your arsenal.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like 15 years from now, once it's entirely normal to take it and we have it in pill format and people are not scared of it because of, injections and all of that good stuff, then people are going to take it like fucking supplements. They're going to take it like they pop Benadryl before going to sleep, and they use it off label. They're going to use NyQuil to fall asleep, just like normal people do. You have a headache, you take ibuprofen, or, you don't take Tylenol anymore. But
no one thinks anything of ibuprofen, but like we already know how bad that can be with long-term abuse. Like fucking A.
Yeah, and what defines abuse is, like, everyone who takes it says, I don't take that much just when I have a headache. And it's like, you have a headache, like, pretty much daily. And when you have it, it's multiple times in the same day, right? Like, come on.
And then they don't understand, like, the mechanism of action and what an NSAID actually does to the body. Like, and then they're, I pop it every 3 days, once a week. Like, that's terrible. Like, you shouldn't be taking that anywhere near that frequency.
Yeah, absolutely. So I wanted to move this a little bit in the other direction, which is the direction of, that you've been in, like, not in the past few years, but since you were in your 16 years old, right? Because that's as soon as I came out of rehab, I was like, yo, I am tired of being a skinny bitch. I'm going to get big. And I was prescribed testosterone and nandrolone in rehab. Like, just like straight out of it. The doctor.
That's a good doctor.
I know. He was like, well, this doctor, like, he had given me all of his books on neuroscience and psychiatry. And instead of reading religious books and stuff, I just started studying neuroscience and psychiatry. And when I was there, so I was like, I'm thinking about doing this and everything. And he was like, so therefore you're going to do it. So might as well do it safely and we can check on you and all this stuff. And I did. It was a great experience. But after that, I've had so many not so great experiences, especially as I got away from the being prescribed all the way into the GH15 era. And had some pretty bad experiences. But tell me a little bit about, like, how you got into bodybuilding and, like, what are, like, how did it change for you? Because I know from your most recent podcasts and everything, just you don't seem to be as intense, maybe the word, as you or driven with regards to, like, doses and compound choices and things like that, or perhaps not as curious as you used to be. And I'm curious, like, how that journey went for you.
So when I first started, I did my first show at 16. Friend of mine prepped me. My dad owned a Gold's Gym and he was a trainer there. Nice. Did it naturally, didn't really have any expectations, didn't really understand it much. I just thought it was cool. And I was like, I have a decent physique, like, I'll do it. Placed third out of 6 or 7. And I was like, wow, I was like, cool. I beat some people. And Boston, Lloyd.
Oh, wow.
Placed second in that show. He
wow.
placed second. That's how I met him.
Wow.
And I talked to him a little bit. We didn't really we weren't really like friends, but we like rekindled years later. So, I got really into bodybuilding then, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to take this to the next level. And I realized really early on, I was like, steroids are going to be a part of this. So throughout high school, I said, I'm going to train naturally. I trained naturally for about 4 years, like, seriously, where I was like, I'm gonna really take this. And then at 19, somewhere in around 19, I started taking just testosterone. And then me and Boston rekindled around that time. And that's when Boston had a very big influence on me, because Boston was like, "What the fuck?" He's like, "You're taking 500 milligrams of testosterone. Like, what a waste of time. Like, we need to increase those doses."
Yeah.
So he told me, he's like, "You're a teenager. It's your last year being a teenager. Why don't you do a couple shows?" I was like, because I wanted to wait a couple years because I didn't think I was big enough. He's like, "No." He's like, "Do some teen shows." I was like, "All right, cool." So he prepped me. And he did. He actually competed with me. That was the Contra Costa show. That's the show he got famous off of, where he used all that fucking gear and shit.
Yeah.
We did the same show. I won the teenage overall. He won the men's overall. And
do you remember how much he was taking? It was something like 6 grams, 5 grams, something like that.
Not at that time. At that time, he was smarter. He was using a lot of synthol. That was what made him like really, like, people were like, "What the fuck?" He was really big on that, and he jimmied up his arms. They actually look really good. I could never tell.
Yeah.
But gear wise, it was a lot, but it wasn't like, oh my god. It was like, 750 to a gram a test. Start at 400 trend, go up to 700, 400 mass, go up to 700, like things you'd expect from a decently high level bodybuilder. I mean, he was 21 years old at the time, so obviously it's aggressive, but it wasn't like 5-6 grams. I mean, it probably was at like maybe 3 grams towards the end.
Okay.
Decent amount.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. And from there, he started getting his fame and stuff, and then I started going through like bodybuilding. That's when he started really, like, it was just experiments. I mean, I remember for 3 weeks he tried to take 20 grams of gear. It was 21 grams, something fucking ridiculous.
Holy fuck,
it was either 21 or 13. I feel like I remember the number somewhere, but that was the problem, is you couldn't fit the gear anywhere.
Right.
And I was like, why? Like, even if you had test 450, like, where the hell are you going to put all that? Like, it's just so much. It's not doing anything. Yeah, and it was a lot of different compounds. Like, he was trying to put Primo and stuff in there. I'm like, Primo's 100 milligrams per milliliter. Like, where are you going to put all that? Yeah, so he's just dumb and funny. He told me to work with a guy named John O'Regan when I turned 20. And John O'Regan is kind of a he's no longer alive, but he was kind of like a coach that no one really knew except for like a few certain people. So he actually turned Dallas McCarver pro. He was Dallas's first real bodybuilding coach. He coached Kevin Levrone back in the day. He coached Nick Trigili, Jeff Long. He was very big on coaching like younger guys and bringing them up and getting them fucking huge, which he did with me. Very, very aggressive, like protocols that are very, very crazy. I mean, food was insane.
Okay, yeah. Both food
like
and gear.
16 ounces of protein he'd want you to try to eat, which I could never fucking do. Try to have you eat like 8, 9.
You remember?
God, 7,000, 8,000, like just stuff that I couldn't even. I would just look at it and be like, bro, I can't eat this. Like, there's just no possible way. Like, I might hit it maybe once or twice during the week, and then the rest of the week I'd be out. Like, I'd be like 2,000 calories off.
How heavy
really,
were you then?
Not. I've never really been that heavy. Probably 220, 230. Okay. I'm short. I'm like barely 5'8". So I mean, I've never really, like, the heaviest I've ever been was 250. But he put on a lot of size. Like, I competed at like 180 as a teenager, and then when I competed at like 22, I was like 205. So he put on a good amount of size on me. And his protocols are weird. Like, he would have me do like IGF and like 10 microgram shots in like 30 different spots on my body. Just really weird, like, strange protocols. He'd
very
say use
like very theoretical. Yeah.
He'd be like, growth hormone, do it this way, but use as much as you can, type stuff.
Which was around, do you remember?
4 to 6 back then. It's all I could afford because he wanted me to use pharmaceutical. I used pharmaceutical for a very long time when I was younger, and then I realized it's a fucking waste of money. I think the generics are just as good. But yeah, I worked with him for a while. And then who else did I work with? I worked with Blue, a couple other guys. Blue Taylor was a big like, I worked with him for a long time. But I did a couple shows. I won a couple like overalls. I won overall when I was 23. I was like 27. I think I won 2. And then I did Mr. USA in 2020. And then I placed 4th in light heavies, which was cool. I was excited about that. And then like I kind of had this lapse where like I went through my divorce and then I kind of like wasn't really bodybuilding for a couple years, and then I got back into it more recently. And then I did a show last year, got fucking creamed at USA. I placed like 10th, which was okay. I mean, I made some mistakes going into the show. I think I could have looked a lot better, but it was good for like coming back. You know, I hadn't competed in a couple years, and I'm about to turn 32 in like 10 days, and I'll compete again next year. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, I've kind of tempered, to answer your question before, that I was a lot more like intense with stuff. Like I just kind of tempered my expectations with bodybuilding. I'm not going to be an Olympian. If I ever stepped on the Olympic stage, I'd be dead last. And it's because I won some bumfuck pro show that nobody showed up to. So my goal right now is like, I want to turn pro. I think I definitely I can turn pro. I realize like I have the genetics to do that. But I mean, whatever happens as a pro, I don't really care. I'll just do the best that I can. I have other like things that I'm passionate about now. Whereas like when I was younger, all I had was bodybuilding. I didn't give a shit. I didn't have any money. I didn't have any really aspirations for anything. I just didn't really care. And now I have 3 businesses. One that's Talon, which is very successful, and I put a lot of like my heart and my effort into this. So to me, like again, bodybuilding goes with this. So bodybuilding will always be an important thing, but business is also very exciting and fun to me too. And that's something that I can excel in without genetic limitations. Like it's, you know, how smart I go about it and how much effort I put into it. So I like that too, that I'm not limited and I can, you know, grow things to an exponential rate. But yeah, that's pretty much
do you feel that like the reason why like you found that like, yo, I'm not going to be an Olympian, is it because you actually went through the entire realm of possibilities of like everything that I could do to become as big as possible? Like the stories that we see with people, it's like either they're a hyper responder or they change something in their training or with food or with drugs, and it literally clicked. Not like the specific compound or anything like that, but it was like we jumped from 2 grams to 3 grams, or we went from 4,000 calories to 7,000 calories. We went from, you know, bro split to upper lower or something like that. But there's usually something that like unlocks it. Do you feel that it was like, I went through all of the possibilities and I sort of got a similar rate of return on my investment on all of them? There's like not really anything that I can do that would push me to that level. It's just having to recognize this is who I am. Like this is
pretty much, man. I mean, I've just realized like some guys have it and some guys don't. I think the problem is like we compare. Someone like me will compare myself to like a top Olympian and see the differences in like Keon said he put on 16 pounds this year from last year. And I'm like, how in the actual fuck did a guy who's 5'5" put on 16 pounds of tissue in a year? But then like I look at like my response rate to the general public and I look like a fucking freak of nature considering like how big I am and how much I've grown. Mm-hmm. So like I have to temper that expectation and just realize like I'm not necessarily middle of the pack. I'm like above average, but I'm not Olympia potential. Mm-hmm. Like these guys grow. So, I mean, I see it. I've seen it right before my eyes. I mean, I trained a guy, I won't say his name. I made a video on him, who was, he competed back in like he won Mr. USA, competed in the early, like 2000s Mr. Olympia, like a couple times. Didn't really do that well. And then he just kind of fizzled out. He wanted to do a comeback when I was like 20 years old. He didn't know what the fuck he was doing. He didn't even, I mean, he'd be like, yeah, I just kind of take this, do that. I diet. And I was like, how did you look so good? And he's like, I don't know. I just ate and trained and I would just look good. And I was like, dude, this guy's something else. I mean, and I'm not even joking. I'm not even exaggerating. So this was back when I was brewing gear so I could get it really cheap. So I gave him a bunch of shit that he needed and he would train with me every day. And I like wrote him a little diet. This dude put on 40 pounds in a month, bro. Like
What?
it was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And he was leaner by the end of it. I think it was like 6 weeks, but like 40 pounds of muscle. And I remember seeing like the fibers move on his arms. And remember, he's like 40 something years old. Like he's not young anymore. Obviously some of that is muscle memory, but the dude literally went from like a jacked like looking dude to just a like professional top bodybuilder in like a month. And just seeing that, I was like, he's just made for it. Like they're freaks. Same thing, like guys like Nick Walker, like the dude puts on 10 pounds every single year. Like it doesn't make sense. Like they're just made to be big. So again, just between that and me seeing, like, I'm around these guys all the time. I'm around Regan. I'm around fucking tons of other pros and stuff. Like, and I've talked to them on what they take. Like, some of them take more, some of them take less, but I would say most of them land in between like 2 to 3 grams is pretty normal. Some of them take a little more. Some are hyper responders and take fucking nothing. But the difference is they do anything and they just grow. I mean, I've heard stories of guys like, because I'll hear it through the grapevine of like them cheating on their diet, 3 weeks out, and I see them at the Arnold or like the Olympia, and I'm like, they look insane, and I know they've been cheating the whole time.
Yeah,
because I'm talking to the girl that's hooking up with them, and they're saying they're ordering Postmates at night. Like, how the fuck do they look like that? And they're just better than you, man. Like, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, and I was just thinking about this because it's like Nick Walker has consistently been putting 10 pounds a year, and he's been through several different types of training with regards to volume, rep ranges, intensity. Like, so regardless of that, he grows. And then you have some other people like Keon, who he got even emotional when he was talking on this last video update with John Jewett on just like, this is like we're in a completely different spot, like just like insinuating that something had changed in the way that they just work together. It's just a new coach, right? So John's approach being different and everything, and it just clicked and it made him gain so much more. I honestly think it's kind of hard to it's gonna be hard to like beat. No, it wasn't Keon, it was Sean Clarita, sorry. So Sean Clarita just mentioning that, and I'm like, he's also been improving. And it's just like getting someone who's already at that level to improve even more. It's like, how many more cards can you keep up your sleeve, coach? Because, just being able to process through all of that data and everything. And it's just like, no wonder that the majority of people have coaches, because just being able to figure this stuff out on your own, it's like pretty much impossible,
And don't get me wrong, like the guys at the very top that are making changes like that, it's because it's all they focus on. That is 110% their life. That is what they will give 110% to. And I think that's also something that I've realized is like, I can do that. I hate to be that guy to be like, oh, I could do it. Like, I could put 110% into being a bodybuilder year round and be that. But I would take so much away from the life that I have. And I'm 30 something years old. Life is never going to be better than it is right now. I mean, it's 30s, 40s. Like, I don't want to be living my life when I'm 50, 60, when I stop bodybuilding. Like, what the fuck? Like, I want to live it now. So like, I just went on a vacation maybe like a month ago with my girlfriend. It was amazing. We had a ton of fun. I still trained. I still ate my meals, but I'd have a couple things off here and there. We went to dinner. I'm not really thinking about my macros and stuff. Like, if I was a top professional, if it was Nick Walker, he wouldn't have even gone on that trip. He'd be like, no, we're not going on this trip. Like, I got to hit my meals, train, and sit at home and sleep and watch Netflix. Like, that's the bodybuilder life. And I don't want to do that. I think that's also part of the reason is I'm like, I will push myself hard, but there are some things that I'm like, that's not worth giving up.
Yeah, absolutely. And it makes sense, right? That's the way it should be. And that's where I wanted to like go in this direction now, because a lot of people, they will hear like with the stuff that it takes to be a bodybuilder, and they're like, oh, I don't want to touch that stuff with a 10-foot pole. Like, I don't need any of that noise in my life. Like, fuck that. That sounds so unhealthy and everything. And it's like, to me, it's always like, but wait a minute. You track your food, right? Yes.
Mhm.
You train on a schedule. Yes. You do cardio. Yes. Do you like try to sleep well and get some rest and stuff? Yeah. So you're a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
You
You're
may
doing
not be
everything.
getting the same return on investment, but you're a fucking bodybuilder. Like,
Exactly.
it's only about, for some people, the change of going enhanced or staying natural is not even the biggest needle mover. It's just them recognizing that, like, oh shit, I am already living like a bodybuilder. So why might just not go ahead and start like getting some of the perks and start looking like one, as opposed to just living like one, you know?
Yep. Yeah.
And,
I,
no, I wonder what you like, whether you encounter like people like that, or like people that just like, it just feels like, man, all you need is just yes. Like, you just need like take one more step, and then you're already gonna become like great, because a lot of these people have better work ethic than I do. It's like, what the fuck? And it's like you just want to get shredded for the summer, and you can follow a plan this way. You'll do everything that I fucking tell you to do. You train like, and you are able to apply cues and learn mind muscle connection within a few months, when some people can't do it in years. Like, what the fuck are you doing by not doing this thing, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, there are definitely, and I think too, a lot of that's genetic. I would say there are definitely people that get a way bigger ROI out of training and dieting and gear than others do, and I think that's also what makes it more exciting and drives them. Like think about it this way: if you first walked into a gym and you put on 20 pounds your first 3 months naturally, and you blew past all your friends, you'd be like, "Oh yeah, I'm doing this. Like, I'm gonna do this." Like, for sure you would. And if you kept blowing past everyone, you did your first show, you won. You did your second show, you won. You did your national show, you placed third or second. It's more exciting because you're like, holy shit, than the guy who is blasting drugs, training, dieting. It took him 5 years to win his first overall. You know, he's scrounging for every little bit of muscle. So I think too that's also part of it. But yeah, I mean there are definitely some people who are like teetering on that edge where you're like, dude, just a little bit more, and like you'll get so much more return for what you're doing. Like, you're already doing all of it. Just push yourself a tiny bit more.
Yeah, exactly. And it's sometimes I've encountered people where they're like, I'm willing to do TRT or like HRT, right? So it's like, take control of my hormones, like test GH, even thyroid in some cases and everything. Like, let's take control of insulin and all of this good stuff, right? But I don't want to get too big. And I'm like, but I mean, okay, like maybe you could get too big, but you can, like, it's not like you wake up and you're too massive. Like, you're going to realize that, like, I want to maintain this size. And then you can continue training and doing everything the exact same way for the next 3 months. And, like, not really that much changes, you know? So.
Yeah. Plus, it's like, let me know once you are bigger if you still feel the same way.
Right.
You know? Because you start doing it and you're like, holy shit, this is awesome.
I don't know, man. If I'm seeing memes on TikTok of Chris Bumstead being a dad bod, then I don't think anyone's I see some of that, and I'm like, they're dead serious too. Like, they'll go up to random girls and be like, "What do you think about this guy?" And they're like, "Oh, he looks good. I like it. He's got a dab on." I'm like, "Bro, that's a fucking Mr. Olympia. What the hell? He's just in the off season."
No, it's crazy. It's crazy. I you know, and then you have the other end of the body dysmorphia, the reverse body dysmorphia as well, where everybody, it's like, you know, I look good enough that I should go online and make videos about correcting people's training and all of this shit. And I'm like, man, I don't even want to be on camera, yo. Like, what do you mean? Like, I gain 50 pounds, and I'm like, that's nothing. I need another 50 before I want to take my shirt off, you know?
Yeah, I know what you mean. That's what hits you hard, is the body dysmorphia.
Yeah. And it's, but at the same time, it's like, I'm a competitive shooter, and, you know, whenever you're like thinking about shooting, you always like, okay, like I can do a couple of like tactical drills and all of this shit, which then you step onto your first competition and you're like, did I just get smoked by a 13-year-old girl? Like, how is that possible? How can these people shoot a 25-yard target faster than I can shoot a 3-yard target? And they're getting like 2 alphas, and I missed the target. I forget which target I was going to do. So you start realizing like, oh, this is how bad you actually are. And then you start practicing, and you practice. And in the beginning, there's a very big like return on investment, right? Like the more you practice, the better you get, until it gets to that point that it's like you need to step back because either you're getting burnt out because you're frustrated because you don't get the same ROI anymore, or because your joints can't keep up, because you're holding a fucking, 60-ounce firearm in front of you for hours on end every day, and your elbows and wrists don't really love that. Regardless of how strong you are, it's about the leverage and like where the weight is and everything. And then you just very slowly realize that like, but I am good. Like I can not practice at all and then go to the range, and then I can draw my gun and take 6 shots, and I will get all alpha in like 1.6 seconds. I will draw, take 6 shots at 10 yards, and I'll like 1.6, 1.7 seconds. Like no one can do that in the real world.
Yeah.
It's
crazy.
And it's like, but I'm nowhere able to compete with the guys who are at the top, right? Like it's not even that you see them taking a shot and then moving to another one. It's like by the time you hear the shot, they are already halfway through going to the next target. It's the reaction speed is insane. And I don't think there's anything bad with that, because it just changes the point of comparison. And I think the whole conversation about body dysmorphia is wrong. It's mistaken, because you are comparing yourself with people who are better. So by definition, you're worse. If you change your point of reference, that's where the whole thing comes from,
Exactly.
You're talking about with like your audience. Like you were saying, my audience, compared to the Olympia guys.
Oh yeah.
But then compared to his audience, he's like, okay, I've got a lot to offer.
Yeah.
And I've got a whole market of people that would consider me a freak of nature.
Right. And I think that's what you have to play into at some point. Like I had to realize like my use as a bodybuilder, like what I can gain out of this from a business perspective, from helping people, is not competing at the Olympia.
Right.
It's helping people that want to look, they want to look better, or they don't know how to use gear. They don't know how to diet. They don't know how to train. They don't know a place to get lab work. They don't know a place to talk to a medical provider. Like that's one thing that I can offer more, and realizing like, just because I can't become fucking Ronnie Coleman doesn't mean I can't be a successful bodybuilder,
Right.
And I think that's the way bodybuilding is going nowadays too. Like I talked about this in a video where, back in the 90s, sponsorships, were more commonplace, and that was the goal. You sit on your ass and you're a really good bodybuilder, and then you get a 6-figure sponsorship in the 90s, which is a ton of money. And that was good, back then. But like now it's like, dude, the best you can hope for is $300 a month worth of supplements and a 10% discount code. Like you're not making a living off of that. So it's like the business of bodybuilding, it's actually better than ever, because there's so many different ways you can segue. You could own a clinic. You could have an online training company. You could own your own supplement company. You have a t-shirt company. You could fucking trade stocks, be the most jacked stock trader. I know guys who stream video games on Twitch that are super jacked, that become really famous because they're jacked. They're not even good at the video game. So it's like there's so many ways to make money. You just need to know how to segue your physique into something that like people are interested in. And just because you can't compete at the pro level doesn't mean like you can't be like a good bodybuilder to everyone else too.
Yeah.
So I think that's also really important. Just like you're saying with shooting, like if you brought me out there, I'd be like, dude, how the fuck did you do that? Like I don't. I don't have a point of reference, but even I would look at you and just be like, that's insane. Like, it doesn't matter. To me, it doesn't matter if you're the best in the world. What you just did is no one else can do. Like, I've never even met anyone that can do that. Yeah. That's kind of how bodybuilding is in a sense, too. Like, you get to a certain point, and it's like, it doesn't, I mean, fuck, almost every gym I go into, like, unless I'm in Dragons at a certain time, no one's bigger than me. you know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I think that's wild because it's like I'm not big at all, but like if I go
Oh,
to a
you're by
commercial
far
gym-
bigger. You,
Yeah,
you
if I
go to
go to a
any
commercial
beach
gym-
fucking grocery store, like you're the most
Yeah.
jacked guy there by far.
Yeah, and it's that I'm autistic, like legit autistic, not like internet autistic. But like at first when people were looking at me, I had no idea why. I was just like, is there something fucking wrong with me or some shit? Or are people rude here? Like, why do people stare? And then I was like, oh, because people don't have traps. Like, they don't have balls coming out of the back of their throat. Like, it's not a normal thing, you know? Like, it's not normal for people to like take a step and then you see fibers on their quads. Like, that's out of the ordinary, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like it can be so helpful for people to recognize this point of reference of like, you know, you're not going to be huge compared to an Olympia, but you could become the biggest person at your gym. And it's like, wouldn't it be fucking awesome? Like, wouldn't it be great for you to just be able to go anywhere and you are like the literal physical representation of what a alpha male, you know, I hate that term, but like what an alpha male is, you know, or like you having a chick that's like, you don't just have like big glutes or, you know, you got a BBL or breast implants. It's like you have shoulders, you have flow. Like people don't really know the words to describe this stuff, but when the physique is coherent, even if you're not the biggest, there's like something to it. And it's like, wouldn't it be awesome to have that, you know?
Yeah, where you just look at it and you're like, wow, like that looks really good. And only on the internet do people say like, oh, that's too big or that's gross or whatever. Like in person, like I promise, no one ever looks and goes like, oh, that's so big, that's gross. Like they're like, damn, that looks good. Like, especially in the gym. Like everyone in the gym is like, that's what I want. I want to be bigger. I want to look like some semblance of that.
I love those videos of guys like walking down the street with no shirt on, and it's like just catching people's reactions, just people looking like, what the fuck? And especially the girls. The girls are always like, or looking or like biting their lips and everything.
They're like, whoa.
But on the internet, y'all say that you don't want this shit, right?
Like, oh, that's gross. I'm like, yeah, okay. It has a different look in person too. Like in person, it's like, whoa, like you're just not used to seeing that. It just looks fucking wild.
Plus, it's a real person. Like in person, you're actually interacting with a personhood.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
I think that.
And I don't think you don't have the lighting, you don't have the pump, so it doesn't look as freaky. It's not like the muscle pushing against the skin. I feel like that's the stuff that puts people off. Like what I keep for my like point of reference, it's like if I think it looks dope, girls think it looks disgusting. Right?
Yeah.
Like if I see something and I'm like I think Nick Walker's legs, like when I look at the legs and the vascularity and everything, I'm like, I would do that. Like that looks like pretty
all day, bro.
You know,
all day.
I tell him, I'm like, keep wearing your compression socks.
Yeah, my wife's like, I wore compression socks and everything, and I'm like, but man, like one, you can't control that shit. I had that in my calves when I was in elementary school, like already. So it's in my future. It's fucking coming, right? Like I eat one bite of a burger and there's veins popping everywhere. Like you can't change that. But two, it's about how you feel. Like if you feel fucking great, if you like it, if you look in the mirror and you're like, that's who I am. I'm a fucking like I feel great in my own skin and everything. Then what the fuck do you care about like what other people
and
think?
You worked hard to look like that. Like this isn't like
you
a fat girl who's like body positive, like I'm okay with being 350 pounds. Like you literally worked hard to look like that. Like fuck you. Like I'll enjoy how I look. Yeah.
Like would it be nice to like get a chat to like create something like, okay, assuming this person has eaten 4,000, like let's call it 5,000 calories a day for the past 10 years and this amount of like chicken and rice, like how many tons of food have this person consumed? Like how many sets has this person made to look this way or something? I feel like that could be,
and like quantify it in a certain way.
Yeah, and it's like you could probably even use it as a formula of like when people are not seeing results. And I was like, well, you're doing 0.03% of what it takes to look this way. So no wonder you're not seeing the results and everything, you know?
To be able to break it down and say like this is what it took to build this physique. This many meals on this many calories, this many sets, this many workouts, this many shots, this many milligrams.
yeah. This many shots, like especially if you start counting the peptides and everything else.
Holy shit! I'd be in the tens of thousands, bro. Fuck.
I believe it. I honestly, there's a lot of stuff that I don't do just because I just don't want to pin more.
Yeah, literally, like the peptides. I'm like, I love the peptides. Like, I was gonna try using GHK, and I was like, fuck, man. Like, I had another fucking shot. I'm like, I already shoot GH like 3 times a day, and BPC when I have injuries and stuff. I'm like, fuck this. I need to do that.
Do you like blends, or do you try to like just use individual things?
I think they're fine. I mean, as long as they're made that way, like they're blended specifically. I get weary like when you're taking like your growth hormone and mixing it in with another peptide. I feel like, I don't know. I mean, I revert back. Do you know Todd Lee?
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking about that. I was like,
Todd Lee is like, just mix all that shit together. It's fine. Like it doesn't matter. Because I was always under the impression too. I was like, you're not supposed to put oil and water because it doesn't mix. But it's like, but what's the difference if you just injected the oil and then injected the water? It's like, what is it gonna like have a fucking horrible reaction under your skin? Like it's not gonna do anything. So you could probably mix them all together and it'd be completely fine. I don't know. I'm just what's the word?
OCD.
I worry something's gonna go wrong.
Oh yeah, the anxiety. Like I
still want my drug to go bad.
Right. Or like I remember my second cycle was testosterone and stanozolol, like Winstrol from Paraguay, and that white thing. And
injectable fucking
like every time that I injected, I was terrified that something was gonna go wrong, you know. Mm-hmm. But I was still mixing the oil with it, and people were like, "Don't do it because you're gonna get an abscess and everything." And I was like, I feel like I'm gonna get an abscess regardless because I'm using Winstrol injectable. So, you know.
Yeah, and I don't think it comes from that too, because even Boston used to do that all the time. He would mix water. I watched him do it, water-based Winstrol with oil, and he's like, it's going into your body. Like, what does it matter? He's like, what does it matter if you mix it in the syringe first? You inject them separately.
Separate inside of the muscle, and then like one creates an abscess and the other one is absorbed or something like that.
Yeah, I was like, but I think what causes the infection is just the water in general, because like anything water-based, like bacteria can grow more easily, and I think the raw material in there is what's causing it, because it doesn't actually like dilute well. Because you don't see people getting infections from peptides. So I think it's just the way underground labs are making them. They're not sterilizing everything properly, and shit's growing in there. And then by the time you inject it, you're injecting bacteria.
You just don't see injections going wrong. Period. Like that's just it just doesn't go wrong. And like people are like, no, you need to aspirate, you need to alcohol swab everything and everything. And I'm like, have you ever met like or seen heroin addicts? Like how many of them do you think are going to the hospital every day because from abscesses and from like injections going wrong and shit like that? It's like it just doesn't fucking happen, man.
Or like the little air bubble in there, they think they're gonna die. I'm like, dude.
Oh yeah, and I remember when I read the statement, which was something like the study that they did. They injected something like 0.3 cc's to 1 cc of air inside of the vein, and I was like, and nothing happened. I was terrified that was going to happen. Like when I was a child, like in the hospital, and I was just like looking at the thing to make sure that there's no bubbles. I'm like,
literally air sitting at the top, it's dripping through the IV.
And I'm gonna have like an embolism or anything like that. And like the only thing that helped my anxiety was knowledge. Yeah, it was just like reading the studies and the statements and everything. And then I remember seeing a comment on one of your posts when you were talking about aspiration. The guy was like, I was an Army vet and we were always taught to aspirate and we always do it and everything. And I was like, I mean, I can pull like 30 photos out of like the US military where you guys have your optics backward. So like,
like okay, bro.
Staying in the military doesn't really mean much, like, and it's not that big of a flex, but it's I think that also applies to what we were talking earlier, which is like the reason people are like women are afraid of doing something like testosterone, or guys are afraid of doing something like GLPs or even TRT. It's because you just don't know. But you're like, there is an assumption that if you don't make a decision, that you are not taking an action. And one of the very first things you'll learn if you ever take a philosophy class, I have a degree in philosophy, is you do philosophy 1-on-1 when you're the very beginnings of logic. You learn that the like refraining from acting is an action in and of itself. Like there is no such thing as just like, I'm just going to abstain from voting. That is a vote. Like,
it is. Yeah.
It is a choice.
That makes sense.
You know? And it's like you're the decision to say, I'm not going to use this, I rather stay natural. It's like, that's not your decision. Your decision is to get every single thing you're currently complaining about, your shitty sleep, your difficulty concentrating, your libido that's ass, your erection quality that has never been good in your entire life, your appetite that's always uncontrollable, your inability to focus, like your inability to put muscle, and when you put muscle, you lose it. Like, you're choosing that. Yep. And I don't feel like people really understand that. You know, it's like even when I started TRT, like, and I was mentioning to you, like, I'm going to do this thing because I fucking need it, man. Like, I'm like, my test levels at 400, I want to leave Earth.
Don't feel good. Yeah.
Like a 400, I want to leave Earth. And I know that I feel very good at 1700. I don't feel like Superman. I don't feel like I'm the king of the earth, you know, or anything like that. But like 1700 is pretty good. And, you know, like some people get to 1700 with 25 milligrams a day. Other guys get to 1700 with 100 milligrams a day. The dose is completely fucking irrelevant. Just like some people need half a cup of coffee to be able to focus, and other people need Adderall, 6 cups of coffee, and a Monster.
I know, it's weird how people equate, like, if you take this much, you should be this big. But like with caffeine, if you said like, well, I need to drink like 3 cups of coffee to feel it, they'd be like, yeah.
Or food. It's like
so strange.
My wife, she eats pretty well. She's 146 pounds and she's eating 2,900 calories. That, in my opinion, it's some pretty good amount of food for 140.
Yeah, that's a lot,
right? I'm eating 4,000 and I'm 190. But it's like, if I was 146, I would still not be eating 2,900 calories. I would still be eating something close to like 3,400 or something like that. It's like there's asking like, what dose do you take? Or like, what dose should I take? Like all of these questions regarding doses, they're just fucking stupid. The only thing you need to worry about is what choice you're making. Like, do you actually want for your current situation, your current context to change? Because if so, we need to remove what's causing this. If the issue is your testosterone is low, bam, we move testosterone to be higher. And now, voila, we don't have these issues anymore. It's like it's like magic, right? But I feel like so many times, like people don't they don't realize it, and it's I think it can be frustrating as a coach. On the other hand, it isn't, because it's not your progress, but it's like it can be frustrating when the decision, it's not made because of like, no, it's because I am terrified of what happened to those like 10% of people who did the study in 1946. Like, it's like, no, that's never the thing. The thing, it's like, oh, but the shit you see on Reddit, man, the stuff you hear on the news, it's like, there's this guy in my gym who has a bunch of acne. I'm like, motherfucker, you don't know what his diet looks like.
Unsubstantiated claims that you're just like, what the hell? Like, so you're going to, instead of like actually taking the time to learn and get actual like real knowledge, you're just going to go on Reddit and just half-ass it. It's like, that's the most like cop out. Like, I did my research.
Oh my God!
Replacement Reddit. Yeah, real fucking research. Yeah.
I hate when people say that, and it's like, I get it, man. You have to do your research. You have to. But there is a thing. There's orders of ignorance, and the second degree of ignorance, the second order of ignorance, is that you don't know how much you don't know. So if you go into the sea of evidence and you don't even know the hierarchy of studies of like what differentiates a clinical trial from a meta-analysis, like if you don't even know the difference of these things, it's like, how can I expect you to know whether you're reading something that makes sense.
How could you even do research? All you're doing is you basically just looked on a public forum on people's opinions. That's not research.
Yeah.
And how to break down and actually understand a study. If you go on and you look on PubMed and you just go straight to the conclusion, you didn't interpret the study.
Oh my God.
You didn't actually fucking read it.
People don't even know that the conclusion is not like just a sum of sentences that came from the article. It's like, no. That's what the guys in the study are saying, that they think that the results that they got mean. But that's that might not be what it means.
Just
at all.
Interpretation. Yep.
It's just the interpretation of it. You need to actually comb through this stuff. And one of the things that we did in school was we had to read the article, but we got no abstract and we got no conclusion. We got no explanation. You just get the data and then you have to explain it. And then just like the most like divergent explanations coming from all of these things. And it's like, it was incredibly hard to do, but well, you know, nowadays I'm not the person who like sees something on mental enhancement like page and it's like, oh, this is fucking stupid or this is fucking great. Like either one of the responses is fucking stupid. It's like science changes all the time or science is catching up with something from 30 years ago. It's like either one is irrelevant. Like I don't know if y'all realize it. Like, yeah, it's just noise, you know. And the people who know about this stuff, they can catch this very easily. It's so easy. I was talking to someone about shooting today, and they mentioned like, so whenever you're going through the course, you like, and he's like, and I don't know much about it. I was like, you use the word course. Like, I know you don't know.
Yeah. Even certain like words, you're like, I know you don't get what like.
Yeah. It's like when you tell me how much testosterone you inject in cc's.
Yeah.
You know,
I inject 0.4 twice a week. I'm like, okay, like I'll assume that you're using a normal standard 200 concentration, but like that could be anything. That could be 250. That could be 150. That could be 100.
Yeah,
be 450.
The volume and then concentration. Those are two different things. You're talking to me about volume, but without the concentration, we can't know. It's kind of like when people ask, how much water should I add to reconstitute Retta? And then they ask, like, what about BPC? And it's like, it's also irrelevant.
But to be fair, if these people are acknowledging how much they don't know,
yeah, absolutely. If they ask me a question, I'm fine.
Speaking the language that they know to communicate with their coach who does know more, then it's like, okay, you're.
No, absolutely. I never have a problem with people asking questions, and if you want to, like, I never say there are stupid questions. Like, no, there are stupid questions, and I will make fun of people, but I never like.
They're stupid if they keep asking them.
Yeah. And but you have to ask questions. I remember I used to have questions about reconstitution and all this type of stuff. But I think the thing that we're talking about here mainly is the people that talk about it as if they know what they're talking about. Like whenever they're saying like, oh, I'm choosing to not go on TRT because my testosterone is normal. I'm like, motherfucker, that sentence in and of itself. Like, what the fuck does normal mean?
What is it normal? What are you standardizing normal by?
Yeah, exactly.
So how do you approach people when they are throwing out arguments or their research that they've done? Like if you, I mean, not just to sell a product.
Make fun of them. No, I'm just kidding.
Not just to get a client. Obviously, you have a clinic, and so that's part of the, I mean, that's your job. But what do you say to them?
In what context? Like if they're a patient, if they're inquiring, if it's just some random person online?
No, if they're inquiring. I mean, not just a random person online, because say whatever.
If I never try to sell anyone on any of this, because I tell them like, look, we have this service. If you want to use it, that's great. I've got 100 other people waiting to get calls. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's obvious we know what we're doing, and it's obvious what we provide is very useful. So that's kind of the beauty of just this business model in general, is that it's so highly sought after, so we don't have to deal with those people. Like I don't have to sell them on it. But they have questions and they're like, well, I did research and, you know, I looked at testosterone therapy and it could possibly cause these issues. And I usually agree with them. I'm like, yeah, you can get acne, you can get this, you can get that. You can have, you know, complications down the road from not watching. And that's why you're coming here. Mm-hmm. Because all those complications come from not being watched by a doctor. You know, I'm not saying you can't have any of those complications, but I will tell you we can fix all of them in a very timely manner, especially if you're getting your blood work done every 3 to 6 months. That's the point. And none of those issues are going to kill you in 3 to 6 months or even cause any permanent damage. You know, that's the beauty of testosterone. Everything's chronic. It's not acute. You know, you overdose on an opiate, that's acute damage. Can't fix that. You gotta hopefully have Narcan on your hand. But testosterone, that happens in 5, 10, 20 years, you know, over time, slowly building, you know, the damage up, depending on what it is. So, I mean, I usually just tell them, like, yeah, there's always a risk for it. I like this quote. If a medication has affects, it has side effects. If it doesn't have any good effects, it doesn't have any side effects because it doesn't do anything. So anything that has effects will always have some sort of side effect. And that's good. That means it works. Like, if it didn't work, it wouldn't give you side effects. It's just a matter of mitigating those side effects. And honestly, like, I always tell people too, like, if you're doing it correctly with a doctor's supervision and properly, like, you really shouldn't have any side effects, because all we're doing is replacing where your testosterone levels should be on the high realm anyway. So it's what your body already produces. It's not, your body's not going to fight this. Like, it's what your body would normally produce. It just doesn't, for whatever reason, whether it's genetic or lifestyle or whatever it is, your body doesn't produce a proper amount of testosterone to have a good quality of life.
And do you even find a range in which people start seeing negatives? Because, you know, we know from studies that at 600 milligrams a week, people might start experiencing side effects like with blood pressure or with severe acne, even erectile dysfunction we see at 600 milligrams a week. But in reality, when I'm talking to people, I don't really see that happening as much when all other things are in place, like when you're exercising, when you're doing cardio, when you're eating like not like an asshole, when you're sleeping like you actually need to sleep. Like, I don't see those things happening. Do you see a range for like blood work, or like things start going south around this number or something like that?
No, it's so individual, and it's usually a conglomerate of issues. It's usually not the testosterone, it's other issues, and then the testosterone is compounding on top of it. So those issues usually exist in their own vacuum, and then taking testosterone exacerbates those issues. That's what I usually see. It's like bodybuilders. Bodybuilders don't take care of themselves. They fucking, they're doing whatever. They let their blood pressure go through the roof, whatever it is. And then they're like, well, I want to get big. So they add a shitload of drugs on top of it. It's like, of course, it's going to exacerbate the issue. You just added a drug that can literally cause that effect that you're already having. It's going to make it worse. But no, I don't think testosterone in itself, there's any like, after you get past this much nanograms per deciliter, or this many milligrams per week, I never see it. No.
Yeah,
I've got up to 1,500 milligrams of testosterone a week plus other shit. My blood work is squeaky clean. I mean, I've seen people on TRT at our clinic with significantly worse blood work than mine, taking 150 milligrams a week, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? And they're my age. It's not even like they're old or anything. Like, I'm like, it's definitely what you're doing in your life.
Yeah, for sure. And people, there's also the other type of people who are the ones who expect testosterone to just be this magic pill, or is like, man, now that I hopped on, everything is going to be great. Because that's the advertisement that so many people put out, right? It's like, you just need this one thing, the magic stone that's just hidden, and like now you're unlocking all of this like new level for your life and everything. And it's like, it's not really that much. I mean, like, yes, it's great, but you will understand why I use the word supplement when you start taking it, because it feels like what you want to, like, it's almost like what you expect to get out of creatine is what you get out of testosterone.
Yep.
And
I hate clinics that advertise it that way too. Like, it's like the fix. It's like anything, like kind of going back to the side effects, like it exacerbates what you're doing. If you have a really good nutrition plan, if you have a really good exercise program, if you take care of your body, you sleep, you have less stress, testosterone will do fucking wonders for you. But if you don't take care of your body, testosterone will probably make it worse. You're going to have, if you're already fat, now you're going to have higher estrogen conversion. So you're going to develop gynecomastia, you're going to develop mood swings, high blood pressure, every other issue that you have with excessively high estrogen. You're not going to get any of the positive effects because you're not exercising or dieting. You'll probably get higher blood pressure too, because that can happen. You're probably building more plaque buildup through your arteries because your testosterone levels are getting high, and you're not doing anything to fix these issues. Your HDL is going lower, your LDL is going higher. So people sell anything as like a magic pill, and it's like it only works as much as you allow it to.
Which is crazy when you think about the people that are doing all the right things, but then they won't take the supplement.
Yeah.
Like, wait a second, you're already there, like you're ready.
You're the type of person who would have nothing negative. Like my blood work has never been negative. Like never. The only time that my blood work was negative was before TRT.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah. And then like since then, like regardless of compound, regardless of dose, like it's always fucking pristine. And even after, like when I was in Brazil, I was not doing things healthily, and I was partying a lot. It was perfect. Like what the fuck? I was able to undergo like 2 months of doing whatever the fuck I wanted, and I was still healthy. It's like it's even hard for me to understand that the return on investment in health-wise, it's there and it compounds. Like all of these things compounds. It's like you were partying and you weren't sleeping much, but you were still not eating like a fucking asshole. You were still getting your steps even when you weren't going to the gym. Like things matter, man. And it's like the people who are getting all of the side effects, people worry that they're going to hop on and have the side effects. But in reality, it's like, no. If you're doing fucking something, it's only going to improve. You're improving the machinery. You're getting a replacement of what kind of oil and gas you were using. You're now using fucking jet fuel. Like that's it's the same fucking car. So it's not like it's going to run like so much faster or anything. You're still limited by the build that you had from the beginning. You might be able to replace some stuff, but it's still the same fucking car. So I think that's like a solid point for us to end, where it's like, if you're doing everything right, you're the type of person who has the green light, not to do whatever the fuck you want, but you have the green lights to be able to start getting some more of the benefits out of the work that you're putting in. Because you're already proved to yourself, to your coach, to everybody, that you will continue doing these things. Why? Because you already do them without getting the benefits. When I started this, I started training, and very shortly after, it was already prescribed, steroids. I don't think that's the way it should go for the majority of people. They should really spend time learning how to train, learning how to eat, learning how to sleep, learning how to control their fucking emotions. Like that's a major important one that doesn't get talked about nearly enough. Like learning what their blood work looks like under different conditions and things like that. Like understanding what other things you can use apart from testosterone. At the time of fucking GH15, we had no idea about metformin and telmisartan and fucking.
Hey, you get blood work. Fuck GH15. I remember I made an account like when they were like when they first had started GH15.org. I mean, they didn't talk about blood work, anything. I mean, they just said blast drugs. And I think the problem is there's some truth to it, because I think people lie about it and really underplay the drugs. But then there's also lies where it's like, dude, running that much gear is just, I mean, you're burning you're burning money and you're ruining your health. And you would be able to be a better bodybuilder with a little bit less, because it's less stress on your body, and you'll be able to bodybuild for longer. And if you're able to bodybuild for longer, it's more time under the bar and you can build more muscle. So, but I think there are few and far between who are getting huge on 500 milligrams of testosterone.
Oh, for sure.
I think there's also that like the double-edged sword.
The way that I explain people, it's like getting massive. It's basically you're trying to get as much, like it's like filling a cup with water. You're trying to fill up this cup with as much water as possible without spilling and making a mess. Making a mess, it's side effects. So yes, some people might be able to get great results just pouring a little bit.
Yep.
Some other people might have to actually pull that shit all the way to the brim. But at the moment that you start making a mess, it is by definition too much.
Yeah.
Like the moment that you need 4 or 5 different medications to control your blood pressure, where you can't sleep at all when you need fucking benzos to be able to sleep and all of this shit. By definition, you're doing too much.
It's not worth it.
No, it's not. It's not worth it. That's where the real risk comes in. And I feel like that's like a lot of my perspective is comes from that. It's like when I came to GH15, it was also in the very beginnings. And I got one of the coaches approved by the board, and
the team metal guy.
Yeah, it was the MTS or something like that.
Yep.
And he I was like, yo, I want to do this shit for real, right? Like make me huge. And I got the standard coach like top treatment that you get, which is a piece of paper with like doses written on it, and then like calories, right? And I was like, okay. It was 3 grams. I was 160, 170 pounds. Bro.
Holy shit.
I was on my maybe second month. It was before the third month. I couldn't breathe. Like my blood pressure was so high.
So much.
And I was 17 years old, and people had no idea about blood pressure at that time, right?
Holy shit, you're 17? God
I was 17 years old, man.
That changes it entirely. Wow.
I know.
Shit.
So I remember, like, I would park my car, and then to go to the class, to go from my car to the class, it was maybe 60 yards. I couldn't do that whole thing in one go. I had to stop and breathe. Sometimes lay on the ground to breathe. And, but doctors weren't super helpful either. I went to the doctor, and the doctor just told me, you're going to die. You need to stop everything you're doing. And I'm like, I'm not going to fucking stop everything.
That doesn't help. Yeah.
You know?
But if the doctor was like, look, I think the trend is causing this. Let's take that out. Take your testosterone level or take your testosterone dose, cut it in half, do this. That's plenty. That'll make you grow. You'd be like, oh, okay. That makes like, you got a real explanation for me. But doctors won't do that.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And it was also at the time that I was home brewing myself. So
you had fucking a shitload of gear. Yep.
It was like, I have a vial that's this big, like
100 ml vials.
might as well just fill it up and send it. Right. And like, I guess that's the price you have to pay. No pain, no gain. And like, thank God now we know that's like, no, you don't have to pay. There is a price, but that's like, your ALT, your AST, your ALP going up. Like that's the price, right? Like it's you need to take a Zetamide when you go out to eat. That's the price. Like it's not anything more than that. And
a lot of genetics in bodybuilding is like how well you can handle drugs.
Yeah.
Like if you can't handle drugs well, you're just not made for this. Like you tell like if Nick Walker was having all sorts of side effects, like he wouldn't be that big. He wouldn't be able to do it. Mm-hmm. Like you could tell he's just a fucking horse. Like his body can handle everything he's doing.
Yep. And I'm like I don't respond very well to drugs, but I can tolerate them. Yeah. So it's at least
which is a genetic component in itself.
Yeah, it is. When I did my genetic testing, like it was like I went into like the CYP, like all of them, and just coming over everything and just seeing how like you're predisposed to having like some hyper response to certain medication. And it's like, no wonder I take 2 milligrams of Adderall. Like that's
shit.
Yeah. I don't even take caffeine.
I like caffeine, bro. I took a drink this week, Total War. I took 150 milligrams of caffeine. My God, I felt like I was on coke.
Yeah, like, I'm not a big. I'll drink an energy drink every once in a while. Like I might drink. I like Celsius. I might drink but I'll sip it over the course of like 3 hours, and then I probably won't finish the last like fourth of it. But I'm not a big. I don't really like stims. I'm kind of the same way because I'm always fucking like this all the time anyway.
Yeah, exactly. But because I feel like it just augments it, right? Like, but it's like, well. On the other hand, when you look at things to like put me down, so like for instance, alprazolam, which is known as Xanax, it doesn't do shit. Like I can take, I've taken 8 milligrams of it.
Holy shit!
No, it doesn't do anything at all. Like I can't notice. It doesn't calm me down or anything like that.
The
like
same
it just
with anesthesia.
Oh yeah, anesthesia every
Oh.
single time. It's like count to 10, and I'm like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
You're still counting, and you're like,
So they usually do it 3 times, and then they usually have to do a dose in the middle of the procedure as well. And
Yeah.
just like knowing what drugs you respond to, and that's one of the things that I don't like about having protocols that are too complex. It's like, how the fuck do you know what's going wrong here, or what's
Right. It's too much.
No.
I'm always a simple guy. Like, even for me, like I macro diet, but I have like chosen foods. So like
Yeah.
I like bagels. I like
Same.
cereal for my high days. I like rice. I like rice pasta. I like chicken. I like beef. Like simple
Mhm.
shit. Like, and I just choose from that, and I macro diet out of that. And then same thing with gear. Like, I'll choose like 3 drugs that I like, basic ones. In my case right now, test, trend, mast, chilling. That's all I need. And then growth hormone. Growth hormones. Yeah. But like gear wise, I mean, I'm not fucking taking I'm not taking Ment and DHB and all sorts of weird shit. It's basic stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. The only reason I'm doing something a little bit more complex this time is because can't find mast. So,
Yeah, mast is a pain in the ass to get right now.
Yeah.
I stocked up like crazy.
Yeah, I hope that it'll be back. But again, like it ran my E2 to the ground so bad.
Yeah.
Like I ended up with a 14
Wow.
E2. But EQ made it worse. It brought it to 7.
Yeah, EQ is an interesting one. Equipoise, I noticed it definitely eats up my. If I'm not running really high tests, it eats up my E2.
Yeah, so I found like 20 milligrams of EQ for every 120 milligrams of test works, but that's about it. But it's like, so I basically never use under 30 because there's no way that I need that much test. You know?
Right, yeah, because then you got to push your test dose so high, you're like, holy shit, like, there's a lot of testosterone.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't get any negatives from it. My aldosterone is great. My DHT is fine. I get a fuck ton of estrone, like a fuck ton of estrone. Like
estrone, interesting.
Like high triple digits.
Wow. You think that's from the equipoise?
It could be, but I've also had it when I'm not super high on equipoise.
Because one of the conversions from equipoise is straight to estrone too.
Yeah, and I just don't convert a lot to E2, which is interesting since I've had, I just had a fucking softball size gyno removed from the left side of my chest.
Yeah.
I was talking to Todd about this, but I feel like perhaps I have more receptors in the breast tissue, which would make sense because my dad also had the same surgery. But I've never, I look at all of my blood work for my entire life, always in the low 20s, low to mid 20s. Always.
I've seen that a lot. Like I've seen guys get gyno, and I look at their estrogen levels. I look at the prolactin. and I'm like, where the fuck is it coming from? Like they're all in normal ranges. Yeah, and then you try blocking it, and it's like it's still there, and it's like, okay, you're just gonna get gyno. Like,
yep, exactly. And then just fucking remove it, and hopefully you don't have as many complications that I did.
Did I had fucking mine removed? Yeah, we talked about this, but I had mine removed last year. Best thing I ever did. Like
it's 100% now, right?
Yep, gone.
Man, I'm 6 months past surgery, and I still have like a little bit of sensitive. Like if I remember hands like this,
it does take a little while, like for that to go away. I will say, like even like the hardness, like the swelling around there, like that took a long time to go away.
Yeah,
and I can even feel like. There's areas where I was like, shit, did the gyno come back? Because there's like hard spots. It's scar tissue from where they went in and ripped it out. Like scar tissue built up in there, but at least scar tissue doesn't look like fucking gyno.
Yeah. And it also becomes smaller and smaller and smaller. I found that
breaks down.
Yeah, I found that using loco GHK copper, which there isn't a lot of research for loco GHK copper. It's like very theoretical. But just using it in this area, it really helped out with the scar. Like really. They opened the wound too soon. They basically removed the stitches too soon on one side. And I had an actual hole for about 3 months. And with GHQ copper, it just went away entirely. It's just mildly red now. So it's awesome. It's a good thing to have in place if you're thinking about getting gyno surgery. And if you do get gyno surgery, just genetic testing helps beforehand. I figured out that I'm predisposed to having complications post-surgery. And I was just thinking, and I'm like, oh, fuck. Every single surgery that I did, I ended up having issues with. Every single one of them. Like, no exception. So it's like the more knowledge you have, just goes back to what we were saying, the more knowledge you have, the better your chances are of surviving and thriving.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. But Jason, thank you so much for your time, brother. I really appreciate it. And if people want to get a hold of you, how can they do it?
Really easy. They can just go to the Talon Wellness website. On there's a contact form. All you got to do is fill that out. You'll get a intake form through there, or you can call the number, which is on the website too. It's a 725 number. But talonwellness.com, that has everything on there, and you can contact us super easily.
Awesome. Well, appreciate you so much. Thank you for your time, brother.
Thank you. It was great.
Of course, yeah. Good talking to you guys.
You have a good one. Bye-bye.
Later, man.